arrest. Sergeant Preston was 65 years old. He'd been on the force for 41 years.
During this call, Sergeant Harold Preston was one of 3 responding officers. A woman met them in the parking lot of an apartment building where she was trying to retrieve her belongings from the apartment where her estranged husband was. The woman's teenage son was able to unlock the apartment door from the outside, but then warned police that he saw his father inside with a gun. Police said the suspect immediately started shooting. Sergeant Preston was shot several times. Another officer and the teenage son were both shot and wounded. Houston Police Chief Art Acevedo described Sergeant Preston as a hero.
He's a guy that's in his 60s, 41 years. And he's leading from where we want our sergeants to lead, from the front. He's leading with his men and women on the streets instead of choosing to sit in an office, drinking coffee and reading the paper.
So the suspect eventually surrendered. He is now likely to face a capital murder charge. Police say that there were 2 service calls at this very same apartment last weekend that did not result in any arrests. Chief Acevedo said that that will be part of the department's review of the entire case.
Officers called to that residence this morning by a concerned family member. Fox 4's Natalie Solis has the details. Natalie.
Well, Heather, police say they tried to intervene, but it appears this shooter had other plans. Now, 3 people dead in the middle of what happens to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Sky 4 overhead as officers piece together what happened at an Irving townhome complex in the southeast part of the city.
At approximately 11:15 this morning, our dispatch received a call from a female stating that she was wanting to speak to her brother and she was heading to a residence there in the 400 block of Renaissance Lane.
Officers responded to the call for a possible suicidal person. When they arrived at the townhome, they made contact with a man, but it didn't last long.
That male retreated into the residence, and the officers started hearing several shots being fired.
More officers arrived on scene and used explosives to open the door. They found a man and 2 women and tried to administer first aid, but they were already dead.
I do not have that information right now as far as the relationships. We're still trying to make sure that we get everybody identified and notifying of next of kin.
Irving police say they have no record of previous calls to that address, but they have seen more domestic violence incidents during the pandemic and encourage witnesses to report them to police with the reminder they can remain anonymous.
Be that advocate. Don't just say, if you're in that apartment complex and you hear the neighbor fighting, don't just be the person that's, I'm not going to get involved. You may be the only person that can save that individual's life.